Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're doing episode 18 of Hot and Cold. This is a series I like to do where I pick out the best, known as the hot, the worst, known as the cold, and the middle of the road tracks to have been released over the past week. Specifically for this upload, we'll be looking at any songs put out between November 25th and December 1st, 2018. As per usual, the songs will be linked down in the description, and if you notice that I've missed out on a song or two, feel free to recommend. I'm always on the lookout for new music. Kicking off the hot tracks, I'm digging the new Pay for the Weekend single by the KONGOS for its deep and intelligent lyrics that describe a post-party depression. They don't seem too insightful at first glimpse, but trust me, they are. Essentially, the track sheds light on the despairing feelings that stem from spending lots of money, in addition to peer pressure of maybe doing things that we don't actually want to be doing, but we're forced to go along with the majority anyways. The deepest part of the lyrics comes from the economic parallels to the Roaring Twenties, as the song references the party of 1929, historically the peak of economic success before the stock market crash. And all of this fun culminates in debt that we accumulate just to have a little fun on the weekend, and the KONGOS are warning us that oblivious behaviors will eventually catch up to us one day, making us feel regret, sorrow, and this overall sense of emptiness. This is really getting down to the bedrock of what the KONGOS are trying to say, and it's that, yeah, it's great to celebrate with friends every now and then, but excessive drinking and partying can lead to bigger problems for the individual and the economy as a whole. If we don't take our work on the weekdays seriously enough or have an objective to work towards as a human species, we end up normalizing the lazy side of human nature, which we all know leads to debt, failing to get climate change under control, and feeling depressed with our ignorant decisions. All this analysis from a party, and oh yeah, it's a pretty catchy song too. It may even squeak onto my top 50 songs of the year countdown. Another track that perfectly sums up the state of living in 2018 is the closing track from the 1975's new record. The song is called I Always Wanna Die Sometimes, and that sometimes is key as Maddie Healy, the lead singer from the group, is emphasizing the transient feeling of being suicidal is not something that lasts forever. But you know what, I think this track will have an eternal message to share with future generations as it feels cinematic and catchy for its spot on introspection. For the sound of the song, it's very Britpop, so think of bands like Oasis, The Verve, early days of Radiohead. It's definitely not something new, but it's something that's refreshing. I can't give this song enough praise. It's just flawless from the David Campbell string arrangements to the mountainous falsettos. This track just feels like an instant classic. Elsewhere, Chance the Rapper dropped 2 surprise singles last week, and the one that ends up on my hot list is called The Man Who Has Everything. This one is smooth and enjoyable for its soul sample, calling back to the early Kanye influence, and Chance's lyricism is as impressive as it's ever been. From tackling the topics of marriage, racial profiling, and being rich, this track ends with a nice message of giving back, and it makes sense with all the Jesus and Santa references. Really, this track couldn't have come at a better time with Christmas right around the corner. The Canadian indie folk group The Strumbellas also returned last week, and their new single Salvation is a positive slice of pop that really makes me look forward to their new record. Check out the track review I did for the song if you haven't already done so. Mark Ronson has returned with his biggest single since Uptown Funk. This one is called Nothing Breaks Like a Heart, and it sees a feature from an unlikely source of Miley, Cyrus. I'll be straightforward, this track is worth your time for 2 reasons. 1, versatility, and 2, it's a serious song. Tackling the first reason, I feel like Mark Ronson proves himself to be versatile. If you just heard the song by itself without knowing the artist, you'd be amazed. Come on, it's one thing to be able to put out Uptown Funk, but it's even more impressive to change your sound this much without it falling apart. And yes, even Miley doesn't ruin the song, as I feel like she can be versatile and serious when she wants to be. You know, when she isn't bragging about how much weed she smokes. For positives on the song, the vocals are delightful, the instrumentation is focused, and the minimal electronic drum beat really ties everything together nicely. A new single from the Mississippi rapper K.R.I.T dropped last week, and it's called Learn from Texas. Definitely a catchy track for its hook, 808s, and spacey kind of sample in the background that plays throughout the entire track. If you're into the southern kind of rap or even the older discography of J. Cole, I feel like this track will interest you. Now onto the middle of the road tracks, not the best, not the worst that I heard last week, but something you still might enjoy. To kick off these songs, I'm going to continue talking about K.R.I.T and the other song he put out last week called Pick Yourself Up. For this track, the flow isn't as captivating as the other single. It's a little more Yellow Wolf inspired in the vocal delivery, and it's harder to get into because of that. However, the production is the saving grace to the track. Moving on from there, Chance put out another song called My Own Thing, which feels a little rickety in the flow. The chorus is still catchy though, so I find myself distracted until that part of the song plays, and then that's when I get my jam on. Elsewhere, this new track from Merton, Funny Business, tries extremely hard to be catchy, and it is, but the melodic ideas don't really feel like they've been fleshed out for their full potential. Next up, the Decemberists are geared up to put out a new EP before the year is done, and the new single to support this release is called Traveling On. If you like the band's older sound, I feel like this will be a nice throwback for you. A B-side from the Arctic Monkeys has been released, and oh boy, I didn't really think I would have to think about this terrible record that they put out ever again. but here they are releasing another song in support of it. Honestly, it's as glitzy as most of the other tracks on the new record, but I think it just gets lost somewhere in the mix in terms of the quality. However, if you are desperate to hear more of this elevator style from the Arctic Monkeys, I know I'm not, but it's worth checking out if you are. Moving on, Mo has remixed a song called Blur, one of my favorite tracks from her new record, but this version that was released last week features Foster the People, another artist I like, and sadly I feel like their feature does nothing to add to the track and it just feels weird more than anything else. So for now, I'll stick to the original release from Mo, but it's nice to hear Foster teaming up with other artists. Now onto the cold tracks, and these were definitely the worst I heard last week. First up, we have Lil Baby with his new song called Global. The trap hi-hats are skittering in a terrible way. The auto-tune is atrocious. The hook is non-existent. This thing is just disgusting and forgettable. And rounding out this week, despite my attempts to lower the bar for Zayn, he has disappointed me yet again with his new track Rainberry, and it's because of its awkward and ear-piercing falsettos. At this point, it doesn't even feel like Zayn has the confidence to belt out his vocal performances anymore. The song just feels like he's phoning it in. And there you have it, there's episode 18 of Hot and Cold. Now I want to hear from you. Sound off down below in the comments, agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. My name is Ryan from True North Reviews, and as always, have a rockin' day. Thanks for listening.